The college football experience, Big Ten coaches 1 to 18. We're ranking them all episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by NYRA Bets. Yes, Naira Bets. Bet the Kentucky Derby by using promo code SGPN25 for a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus over at nyrabets.com/SGPN25 and start winning today. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride.
This is Jim Mora, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the college football experience, Big Ten coach rankings. If you're wondering, you're like, what do you mean coach rankings? Yes, we are going 1 to 18. That's how many teams. Let me refresh the Twitter feed, make sure we're still at 18, but I believe we still are in the Big Ten, and we already released we already went out and did the SEC, so go listen to that. That episode dropped on Monday on podcast platforms. It was out on video last week. So yeah, 1 to 16 over there, 1 to 18 right here. We're going conference by conference, ranking our, what we think is each conference's best coaches with whatever number that would be, Big 12, 17 now. I'm sorry, ACC 17, Big 12 16. So these big conferences, going through them all. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
He's the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
Oh, it is the dog days of summer, which is the perfect time to talk some shit on your 18 best coaches in the Big Ten, have everybody else call you a fucking moron, and make your case, and then hope next season things align with your rankings a little bit. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former staffer at Austin P, South Carolina, and West Virginia. Yes, give it up for Ryan McIntyre, a.k.a. Moneyline Mac. How are you, brother?
Doing good, brother. And, I did not work in the Big Ten, but I did compete against a bunch of Big Ten teams. They never had 18 teams when I was there, I can tell you that. This is a new look, or I guess a newer look, Big Ten. Let's go.
Yes, 18 teams. Look, I went to Maryland basketball camp. Does that make me Big Ten? All right, let's go. Here we are. And by the way, check out the college basketball experience for more on that. But yes, college football season's here. We've released a shit ton of episodes over the past 2 weeks. Go check those out. We got the team previews. Remember, we're going to break down all 136 teams, schedules, win totals, over unders, locks, all that good stuff here. Some interviews, from coaches, just everything. We talk college football year round here as we enter. I believe this will be year 9 when the football season kicks. So there we are. But how'd you find this exercise, man? Because it is new ground. I know that we've had 1 year of 18 teams. It still doesn't feel. It just doesn't feel like they're in the same conference still. I like going through this. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about Jed Fish. He's at Washington. I forgot they're in the conference. But Yeah, I mean, the exercise, I feel like before everyone's identity was kind of within that. I mean, yeah, Maryland Rutgers joined, and I still question that a little bit. But how about just ranking 18 teams in general, coaches, 18 coaches? Was it a bit of a challenge compared to the SEC? I know that's at 16, but still.
Yeah, I think the top was easier here. I think the top is pretty easy. It's honestly kind of like the Big Ten played out last year, very top heavy. And then you get kind of a clunk of coaches there in the middle that have been solid, but maybe went to a different spot, maybe even a different level, aka the NFL, and sucked and came back down, had some success. It is harder to gauge these coaches just because, for example, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, we only got a 1-year sample size on them in this new look league. But the rest of it, I mean, plenty of body of work.
Yeah, that's true. And obviously you had just I think it was the best conference in football a year ago. I think coming into the season, I thought it was going to be the SEC. I think after watching all the teams play out, the success of just certain, how about like Michigan's B team beating Alabama, and then just Indiana coming out of in Illinois coming up. It was to me by far the best conference this past college football season. So, folks, before we get into our rankings here, 1 to 18, I do want to let you know that the College Football Experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And please, if you can, support SGPN's free content by taking a second to give us a 5-star review and subscribe. Please tell a friend. Once again, that's whatever podcast platform you could find us on. We're there. We're on all of them. So whatever you use, check that out. Also, youtube.com/the college experience. Please, if you can, hit that like and subscribe. Also, iTunes 5 stars, takes 2 minutes out of your day. We are grateful if you do. And remember, as always, to let it ride. Back talking Big Ten, and let's just jump right into it because, if you go listen to the SEC preview, what was interesting was I feel like we had the bottom 15, 16 ranked coaches correct. Like we both had the same synopsis, and we also had the top 2. I find a little bit similar here, but let's just jump into this. Once again, folks, you can watch this slideshows here, youtube.com/the college experience, and jumping into this mix at number 18.
I knew you'd have him there.
Yes, you can know myself there, bottom left-hand corner, pick Dundee. Mike Locksley is my number 18 head coach. And, a lot of it really has to do, like you could say, because, I think this is an interesting one. Like some people actually would fight this, I believe. And I would just say, man, he got handed the New Mexico program right after Rocky Long. And Rocky Long kind of had that thing going. And he was terrible there. In fact, he was so terrible, I believe he was 2-26.
I was going to say, define terrible. We've seen terrible.
Yeah.
That is beyond terrible. 2-26. Like that's that's taking it to another level. Terrible.
And the program was rolling at the time. Like it was rolling for the Mountain West at the time. Then at Maryland, he has, compiled a record. Now, yes, he has had 2 8-win seasons in the past 3 years, but overall at Maryland, he is, 33-41. And those 8-win seasons, in terms of their life in the Big Ten, it's their best years. However, the problem is they don't beat any good teams. I think if you go and look, not only do they not beat any good teams, 95% of the time, any team with a pulse in the Big Ten whoops their ass. And I think that's really why I have him ranked 18th. I think Maryland's program under, I think had they kept Matt Canada, I think he would have done similar, if not better. Randy Edsel had it in the dumps, but Ralph Friedman had it rolling, going to Orange Bulls. But I don't know. I just feel like some people might argue this because you're like, hey, this is a team, the guy that's taken Maryland to 3 bowl games in 4 years. I don't care. Like to me, go season by season and tell me, because to me the eye test has to matter. It has to, and it's why I think he's on the hot seat. Go listen to our hot seat episode we did last week. But like you take even a year ago, I mean, a double-digit loss to Indiana. a double-digit loss to Northwestern, a double-digit loss to Minnesota. When I say double-digit, I'm like, maybe I should tell the actual fucking scores. How about this then? They lost to Penn State by 37. They lost to Iowa by 16. They lost to Rutgers by 14. Oregon by 21. Minnesota by 25. Northwestern by 27. By 14. So I mean, they were getting their ass whooped, and it's just what they do. Anytime they play a team with a pulse, it's just an ass whooping for the most part. Yes, they got Auburn in a bowl game 2 years ago, but that's when Auburn's still going through it. But yeah, I mean, and once again, just like with our SEC one, where we started out with Jeff Lebby at number 16 in Mississippi State. Mac, next, let me go to your slide. Oh, there it is. Moneyline Mac agrees with me. Mike Locksley at 18th. Why do you see? I actually do think some people would argue this with us. I actually do think, not like Lebby. I think Lebby, everyone in the SEC knows he's got to earn it, and right now he's 16th.
I would just ask them, how can you not rank him last when he's never had a winning season in the Big Ten? Year number 8 there now. He's never finished above 4th in the East, not in the whole Big Ten, in the East division. I will say, you don't want to play him in a bowl game, in a meaningless bowl game. He's 3-0 in bowl games at Maryland, Pinstripe, Dukes, Mayos, and Music City. But other than that, it's been very underwhelming. And then I think last year was very telling. 4-8, 1-8 in league play. I know they lost a little bit from a production standpoint, but you finished 17th last year in an 18-team league, and I already read off all your division stats. So winning has to matter, and then you put the New Mexico thing's the cherry on top. You got to go better than 2-26. I don't care who you are. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and let me just try to paint a picture of so New Mexico we know is not a powerhouse when it comes to college football, but I just want to sell the people on first, you can tell how good a coach is to me. I think when they're at the Group of 5 level or the FCS level, but I just want people to know the creator of the 3-3-5 defense, Rocky Long, was the previous head coach. Now, yes, tough to fill a legend's shoes, but what better time with a program that didn't have much history? He had taken New Mexico to 5 bowl games in 7 years, right? And they hadn't seen success like that. Wins over Texas Tech and stuff. Won 9 games. So I mean, you're not going to get it in a better spot historically than when the keys were handed to you. Now you could say whatever. Maybe he said, if you asked him, maybe he would say, well, I learned a lot my second stint when I was an assistant for Saban there at Alabama, and maybe that's true. Some people do learn, and you did things wrong. It was your first time doing this, but to me at Maryland, he's just been a dud. Yeah, I know Benedict Dantold is in the chat. I see him talking. He's a Maryland Terrapin fan, and yes, he's brought in talent, but the talent has always been there. And to me, with Under Armour money there, I don't understand how you should be winning against some of these good teams. Iowa has fucked you up, right? Iowa and Kirk Ferentz has fucked you up, and I'm sorry. You look at it, yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. That should be no excuses there. So I think for sure he's the 18. I feel pretty confidently that he's the worst coach in the Big Ten. Let's get to number 17 because I'm curious to see what we did here. Next up at number 17 for old Pick Dundee is Deshaun Foster. Now I will say this, Mac. I could see people saying, how the hell do you put Deshaun Foster ahead of Mike Locksley? And I say, well, we only have a 1-year sample size.
Yeah.
But he greatly overachieved that expectation. I know he's 5-7, and he's never had an 8-win season, which Locksley had 2 years ago. But to me, I saw a team that I'll be honest. I think he might even have a better win in his first year than what Locksley has had, his entire career in Maryland. But
beat Iowa.
That's what I'm about to say. Beat Iowa, won at Nebraska, won at Rutgers. And to me, the big thing to me was the toughness of the team. As the season went on, they were like 1-5 out the gate.
Yep. And
I thought the team got super, super tough as the season went on. So I like, this is one I actually think is going to go up when we do this exercise next year. I think he's going to go up because I actually was really impressed in year one. And it's like we talk about a lot on the college basketball show. Like when you get a first year coach, especially one that's never been a head coach, and you see, you almost expect struggle out the gate. And we did. Didn't hit. But you saw the team buy into his culture. When it was rocky 1-5, you're thinking, man, I don't know. This dude might get fired here. This might not be the answer for him in Westwood there. But it worked out. They bought in. They came up with some major wins late in the season. They played some teams close. So I think he's a better head coach based on a 1-year sample size than what I've seen out of Mike Locksley. Jumping over to who you have at number 17, we have.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's loading. There it is. Yes. Moneyline Mac, we agree. Deshaun Foster at 17. What's your reasoning? And what would you say to the people that say, dude, how the hell do you have him ahead of Mike Locksley?
I think it's more so a little bit of a projection, and then Locksley, I just know what I'm getting with him. To your point on when the switch flipped for them, it was middle of October. I thought that at Penn State game, they were competitive in that game. I thought they were going to lose by like 50. They go in there, and it was like a one-possession game in the fourth quarter. Then they lose a tough one in Minnesota, and then they went to Rutgers and won. They went to Nebraska and won back-to-back weeks.
Those are bowl teams last year, man.
Yeah, and Iowa. Those are 3 physical-ass teams. UCLA in the past would have just bent over and gotten drilled. They met the challenge, and then they lost a one-possession game to USC, who I know wasn't as good last year, but still talented. So they finished year 4-2 and trending upward into year number 2. Now they get Nico, and we'll see how that transpires this year. So, yeah, I liked what I saw from Foster. They definitely overachieved. I thought they were going to win 2 games last year.
I did too. I thought it was a lock. I think again on the lock win totals, I was like, dude, I don't see he was hired late. Yeah, I don't think that's another thing to his credit. Like he was hired a little late. Remember, Chip Kelly just up and quit. Got in an argument. I feel like in Westwood's like, you know what? Fuck this place. But yeah, we both agree right there, folks. Before we get to number 16 in the Big Ten, I do want to let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, Edge Boost is the first ever bank account. It's built for bettors. Basically ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There's no usage fees, no minimums, earned cash back rewards. It's really got, to me, it's like the old play action fake. You're never going to have to wait for a wire transfer. They don't even do a credit check. So if you're a little bit behind on some money, they're not even going to look at that. So what are you doing? 100% approval rating for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet with our promo code SGPN. Once again, deposit $25 and Edge Boost will match the deposit. Once again, that's edgeboost.bet. Hop on over there. Promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by NYRA Bets. It is Kentucky Derby week, folks, at SGPN. Make sure you check out the Notorious OTB podcast. Yeah, make sure to check out just the fact that the Triple Crown is about to go off, let alone the Kentucky Derby. You're going to want to check out NYRA Bets. Plus, get in on the action with the most exciting 2 minutes in sports with NYRA Bets. Sign up today and boost your Derby bankroll with a $25 free bet and $200 deposit bonus with the promo code SGPN25. Yes, join now and claim your free $25 free bet and $200 deposit match bonus at nyrabets.com/SGPN25. And we're also brought to you by mybookie.ag. Yes, MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs, UFL action, NHL playoffs. They got props for every game. And for the true DGens out there, the MyBookie money bag is a bundle of fun. And look, MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations, even outside of the States. You can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. So what are you doing, folks? Head on over to mybookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. Yes, that's our promo code TCESGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply, of course. Once again, though, that's mybookie.ag. Promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back talking Big Ten. Big Ten coaching. We're seeing eye to eye right now, but now where things get a little interesting, I think, because at number 16, pick Dundee has Jedd Fisch. Well, wait a second here, Dundee. What do you mean? This is a guy that was a hot coaching name for the Washington Huskies coming off the national championship when Kalen DeBoer left for Alabama. Well, my thing is this. So I did lock up the under on Washington last year and it cashed. So, but I will be honest, they looked better than I thought they would look. Now, I still wouldn't say they were a great team by any means, but I do think they looked better than I thought they would look. The thing is this, I kind of just wanted to see a bigger sample size. You look back at what he did at Arizona, he quickly improved that team. He was 1-11. Then 5-7, then 10-3 with an Alamo Bowl win. But he was 16-21 in 3 years at Arizona. And I guess my point is I could be really wrong with this one in the future because I do think that's impressive that you improved Arizona that fast. Now that two things could be true here though. It could have just been a 1-year wonder and he milked that thing and said, let me get the fuck out of town and cash that check. Or the guy might just be super legit. I'm kind of on the fence with the hire still, but I do think right now, 4 years in to being a head coach, he has just one winning season. So I can't go all the way in. I think you have to rank him somewhere around this, number here. But I have Jedd Fisch, who's been everywhere, by the way. I mean, this is a guy who's coached literally as an assistant. Look at his resume. That's the thing that could scare me about it. He could end up being like top 5 because when you look at who he was an assistant for, it's pretty wild. It's like Steve Spurrier. It's like Brian Billick. It's Jim Harbaugh, Jim Mora Jr. there. I think McVay with the Rams, Bill Belichick. So I mean, it is a long list. I'm probably forgetting some. But yeah, I have him ranked at number 16, and that is my logic. There's just one winning season as 4 years as a head coach. You at number 16 have David Braun, Northwestern's head coach, who kind of got thrown the head coach spot after the Pat Fitzgerald fiasco there. But Braun had prior to that been the defense coordinator at North Dakota State, which they did a lot of great things there. But talk to me on why you have David Braun there and your thoughts on ranking him there.
Yeah, I like his pedigree as well. Working at North Dakota State, Northern Iowa, 2 good FCS programs year in and year out. And 2 years ago, I thought he did an unbelievable job keeping that thing afloat, winning 8 games with all the Fitzgerald bullshit that happened right before the year. He had to take it on short notice. They rally in November, get hot down the stretch. I think win 4 out of their last 5, get to a bowl game, win a bowl game. But this year they came back a little bit to reality. I mean, their only 2 Big Ten wins were Purdue and Maryland. I think it's a little bit unproven. He's a young coach, but I think in one of his 2 years, he did a really, really good job in the chaos year. Big year 3 is my big verdict on him.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. It's a hard gig. I mean, if we're being honest, this is the hardest. I think you can make a case for maybe one other job being. I think there's 3 really hard jobs in the Big Ten, and this is one that is one that's just right there as one of the hardest gigs in the Big Ten, if not the hardest. Yeah. Yeah, okay, that makes sense there. Let me jump to the next one here as we go to coach number 15 for Pick Dundee here. I have Sherrone Moore.
Yeah.
Now this is a really hard one for me because I do feel like he's a really good coach, but I also think we have a very small sample size. And one of the things he didn't do, and I think we talked about this on the hot seat one, They ended the season well. Which I think made me buy into potentially him being the right man for the job. But had you asked me that, say October, there were some major question marks. And he's supposed to be known for his offense. It's on him last year that offense was that bad. They could have got guys in the portal. I know they played in the national championship, but there's a second portal. You still could have loaded up and got something. But I mean, you went 8-5, huge win in the bowl. I think it's gonna work out. It's just, to me, the sample size is a little bit of like, okay, great. He saved his ass a little bit last year for the expectations, because like to end the season beating Ohio State and then winning the bowl game like that, I tend to think like, whoa, this guy could be really good. But there's points in the regular season where I was convinced that I was like, I don't know. But that's why I have it number 15. A lot of that has to do with only 1 year of being a head coach. You at number 15 have Luke Fickell. Talk to me about why you have Luke Fickell at number 15. And yeah, I mean, it's my first thing was to be like, hey, you put Sherrone Moore over Luke Fickell in just an 8-5 season at Michigan. I would love to know why.
Well, I think for Moore, I like the way they finished, and they lost a ton. I mean, they were never going to duplicate what they did 2 years ago. Wisconsin has been good. It's been a good program for years and years, running the football, having an identity, and what he's done there has been beyond underwhelming. Trying to throw the ball all over the yard in Madison. 13-13, 8-10. They miss a bowl game for the first time in 2 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, and I know he went to the college football playoff in Cincinnati, and I thought he did a really good job. But to your point, Cincinnati was by far the best job in the AAC from a resources standpoint and just roster. At Ohio State is 1 year. I know is a little bit of an interim, but 6 and 7. I don't know. I just think that this is a huge year for Fickell. I think he's overrated nationally. I think everybody just gives him the benefit of the doubt that he's some mastermind because he turned Cincinnati into a top tier program. But in reality, Cincinnati, it was winning for years and years in the Big East, and the Big East is better than the AAC. So yeah, I think Fickell's overrated. That's my big gripe with Fickell.
Oh, I mean, you sound like me when he got hired. Go back and listen to that episode. I was a skeptic. I think the whole world was in love with him, and I was like, I don't know. However, though, here I am sitting there. I have him ranked further than you, but further up than you, or better ranked, however the fuck you want to say it. But yeah, you make some great points. Obviously, missing a bowl at Wisconsin, even going to go with the dairy raid offense, I thought was crazy. But yeah, I mean, and I personally think he's probably going to end up canned. I think this year's schedule's so hard, unless they give him a 4th season, I don't know that he'll be there much longer. So yeah, he's got him at 15. I have Sherrone Moore at 15. Let's jump on over to number 14 for me. That is David Braun. And look, I gave him a little bit of a higher ranking than Sherrone Moore, and a lot of it had to do with the fact that he won 8 games so he's been a head coach for 2 seasons at Northwestern. Mm-hmm. But he won 8 games in one of the seasons. He's also had to deal with a lot of bullshit, in my opinion, as far as whether it was the Fitzgerald thing where he was hired as the DC and all of a sudden gets thrown to be the head coach. Also, their stadium, they're playing half their stadium on like a lakeside lacrosse stadium, which is awesome. It looks really cool on TV, but they're also playing half at Wrigley, in Chicago. And it's all the big teams like Ohio State and Michigan. And that completely kills your home edge. So I think it's been even harder in that regard, but winning 8 games in a 2 seasons, and obviously it's a big year for him, but I think that 8-win season could buy him some time, because 8-win seasons at Northwestern, I feel like, go look historically, that's a really good season. So that is more impressive than 8 wins at Michigan to me. So I know he only won 4 last year. But still, I mean, like a triple overtime loss to Duke, who won 9 games. So, and once again, to me, fighting all that other shit of having to play at Wrigley. I think it's a tough hand to just walk into, especially being a first-time head coach. And I think he's answered the call pretty well. So I have him at 14. Mac, you at number 14 have Barry Odom, Purdue, year one. We haven't seen him coach at Purdue yet. Came over from UNLV, and before that, he was a head coach at Missouri. He was also a defense coordinator at a few spots. Talk to me about Barry Odom at Purdue, and why do you have him ranked number 14?
Tough guy to rank. Kind of, he didn't have much success at Missouri. 25 and 25, 13 and 19 in the SEC. They were up and down, and we've seen what Missouri's done the last couple of years. I know they've got a nice schedule, but I think Odom a little bit inconsistent. Now, this is where it's tough because I thought he did a great job at UNLV the last couple of years. Get in there, re-energize the program. Have the issue with Saluka last year and say hit the road, but NIL before it was the Nico situation in UNLV. Before the Nico situation, they go on and win 10 games. They just couldn't beat Boise. That they weren't as good as Boise. And now I'm kind of surprised that he took the Purdue job. I'm not going to lie, but he did get paid very well. I think he's a middle of the road coach that has a lot to prove, because I think the Purdue job is a lot harder than the Missouri job when it comes to the Big Ten.
Yeah, no, I was baffled that he would take this gig. Now I know it's a lot of money, but I was just like, why not wait one more year? Or even 2 more years. So you have the brand new, once Boise and Utah State and Fresno and Colorado State leave the Mountain West, I think it would be UNLV's to take to get to the play. I mean, they were not that far removed from the playoffs this past season. 100%. I was just kind of very surprised at that, especially because if you look back when he was at Missouri, his defense coordinator was Ryan Walters, who just couldn't cut it at Purdue. They fired him. That was his defensive coordinator at Missouri. So maybe in that regard, he liked the fact that he could walk in and there's he knows the blueprint of what's going to be what he wants. But Purdue's schedule is incredibly fucking tough. Their academics actually matter. A couple of years ago, they kept one of their best players of their team off the team because of academics. So I was surprised by this. I do think he's a good football coach, though, and I'm sure we'll be talking about him in a second here. At number 13 for myself, it is Barry Odom. Oh shit, there we are. I had him one spot higher.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, the real reason why I thought is what he did at UNLV. UNLV had been such a dud for so long. You could actually make a case that you could throw him up a little higher. He went 19-8, a 9-win season in year one, followed by a 10-win season at UNLV. And really at Mizzou, it was a tough scenario there because he took over for Gary Pinkel, who was dealing with, it was a legend, and you sputtered in year one, 4-8, but after that, 7 wins, 8 wins, and then 6-6. I don't know that it was that bad in the SEC there. I thought he did decent considering. Now I know Mizzou, you look and say, well, Eli's got that thing going a little bit now, but they didn't have the NIL situation there. Eli kind of walked into perfect timing where they were one of the first states in the country to give NIL to, make it legal to give NIL to kids that were still currently in high school. So I think that really benefited Missouri, and it was unfortunate for Barry Odom there. So yeah, that was my logic here on ranking him there. I think his resume is decent. However, I don't know that this will work out. Because
question of fit.
Purdue plays like 11 Power Fives every year, I feel like. And then the 12th game will be like against Fresno State or something. It's just, they need to relax. Maybe he can talk to the athletic department and say, or athletic director and say, we got to go a little bit lighter on the non-con because I just can't see success happening when you have
Indiana.
Yeah. So, I have Barry Odom there. Kyle, shout out to Kyle in the chat. He's talking about didn't think Ryan Walters got a fair shake. I also think that's just a really hard job to win at, which is such an impressive thing because Jeff Brom and Joe Tiller were able to do so. But they need to schedule lighter. It's I think I was talking about this with Stanford in the past couple of years as well. If they want to just take that next step, you got to schedule a little bit smarter. But yeah, I have him at 13. Moneyline Mac at number 13 has Sherrone Moore.
Yeah.
Look, talk to me on why you have him at 13, and we have a 2 or 3 spot difference here. What's your logic here?
I was impressed with Sherrone Moore down the stretch. Maybe I'm being a little bit recency biased. He beat Ohio State and his team couldn't throw the ball. And you know what? I think people forget too. Harbaugh missed the Ohio State game the year before, so he's 2-0. Moore is against Ohio State, and he beat Penn State in the whiteout. I know it was a big noon kickoff. So he went 3-0 2 years ago, and I think that he is going to be a good coach. This is more of a projection for me. I mean, like you said, he went 9-5 or 8-5 last year. They beat Alabama in the bowl game with their backups. They beat Ohio State. They finished strong. They were shaky early because their quarterback play was so fucking bad. But it'll be improved this year, and I expect Michigan to return to being a not national championship contender, Michigan fans, but a playoff contender.
Yeah, I think they will be too. And look, I think I think it's going to work out. Yeah. But I just think right now, and how much of this is based on Ohio State and Bama? If that didn't happen, I would love to know where. Like yeah. Which is fair. Sherrone Moore there at number 13 for Moneyline Mac.
I think it's fair to overreact this way to it because if people wanted Ryan Day fucking fired when he lost the game. So Sherrone Moore should get a couple bonus points here because he's the one that put Ryan Day on the hot seat heading in the playoff.
Yeah, that's fair. Fair point. Fair point. At number 12 for me, I do have Luke Fickell, and I think most of this is. And I was a skeptic of the hire. I talked about this, on our hot seat episode where I was like, this is kind of what I imagined he would do at Wisconsin. I didn't like the hire, and then that was before I even knew they went dairy raid. I liked it less, even less. After hearing he was going dairy raid. And at Cincinnati, you're right. You were spot on that, I don't know that he was really the guy to get it going at Cincinnati. I think, yes, it had hit a little bit of a rough patch prior to him, but the previous coaches, Butch Jones and Brian Kelly, were able to win there and win decently. And even Tuberville had some decent years there. So yes, he got him to the college football playoffs. And really that is the main reason why I have him this high up. It's a decent enough resume where I think it deserves to be ranked there. But do I believe he's a coach that I am a little bit weary of, but I think the resume is a little bit better than some of these other coaches. So I have to rank him at 12. That is Luke Fickell. Number 12 for Moneyline Mac is Jonathan Smith. Your logic here, because that'd be obviously some big time years there at Oregon State. Your thoughts here?
Yeah, so another kind of tough one to rank, I would say, because it started slow at Oregon State, but had a lot of BS, man. I mean, the COVID time out there for the Pac-12 schools, they did them no service there with all the limitations. So after that, in the portal, 7-6, 10-3, 8-4. I was a little underwhelmed a little bit last year. I thought maybe they could sneak into a bowl game. I think that they kind of got drilled a little bit, especially down the stretch against Rutgers. I mean, I know Indiana was a playoff team, but I thought maybe not lose by 40 or by 30 to Illinois. Their only win in the last month was against Purdue. So losing to Boston College too. I thought they underachieved a little bit. I thought maybe they could sneak into a bowl game. I do think he's a pretty good coach, though. I liked him at Oregon State. Do you question the fit here at Michigan State and East Lansing?
A little bit. This is like a lifer on the Pacific time zone, basically. When you look at, obviously, he played at Oregon State and played damn well, beat the hell out of Notre Dame in a Fiesta Bowl there. But then he was an assistant, he was an assistant at Oregon State, Idaho, Montana, and then Boise for a long time with Peterson, and then followed him over to Washington. So it's just that's the only little bit of a thing. But as far as a football coach, I think he's a damn good football coach. So We'll see how it works there. And I do question the fit a little bit, but got Jonathan Smith at number 12. At number 11. I have Lincoln Riley, and former ECU guy, but this is where everyone's going to hate on me. And I'm no USC hater or anything. I mean, if anything, I feel like a lot of USC fans might even agree with me. I just want to mention this. To me, wait, I think I might even have it on this soundboard.
Oklahoma fans think he's too high.
Yeah, let me see if I can find this. I mean, yeah, a lot of people are saying, now we got a problem. But I have this quote from Jim Harbaugh on here somewhere about the third base. There we go.
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't.
That was regarding Ryan Day, so I guess I could play that in a little bit. But yeah, he got handed Oklahoma at Bob Stoops had built that thing up for 20 years, and he got the keys to one of the winningest, programs of all time. And he did a good job to a certain extent. He beat Texas a lot of years, beat Oklahoma State a lot of years, but they were still duds in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he leaves for USC, another, by the way, team that has had the most players drafted in NFL history. So, I mean, I feel like he keeps getting these Cadillacs, and he's 26-14 at USC, man. And some of that was in, the Pac-12, where in year one he was 11-3, almost made the playoffs. But since then, 8-5 in the final season of the Pac-12, and then 7-6 in the first year in the Big Ten. I just, and look, this is a guy, when he was offense coordinator at East Carolina, our offense flew. But one of the things that I will always question is the toughness of these teams, both at Oklahoma and at USC. I don't think those teams are very tough. I also think they were in an era, specifically at Oklahoma, where I felt like they might have been one of the schools kicking some money under the table, and the rest of the Big 12 was probably not, with the exception of Texas. So to me, you got a silver spoon here. I need to see more. Like, you're at Oklahoma and USC, you should be winning fucking national championships. I would love to just, and this is my theme, and this is why some people probably shit on my list, but I believe if you put some of these other coaches at USC within this conference, like if you see right now, I haven't ranked Greg Schiano. I think you put Greg Schiano at USC, I think he would have won more games thus far. And that's why I ranked Lincoln Riley at number 11. Is he an offensive genius? Sure. But there's more to football than just offense. So you got to win the games. And to me, I question the toughness of his teams. And that even goes back to Oklahoma when they were killing it. I thought he got handed a Cadillac. And I feel like a lot of coaches could have kept that thing rolling. So that's my logic there. How shocked were you at me having Riley at 11?
A little surprised, but I mean, I'm not going to lie. He's a hard guy to rank because USC has declined over the last couple of years. And I mean, he did dominate the Big 12. He's also had Heisman Trophy after Heisman Trophy, but a lot of it is because he brings him in and he develops him. So he's an interesting guy. I have him higher just because I give him the benefit of the doubt at Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, but to me, it's not like Oklahoma didn't have national championships. Heisman Trophy winners under Bob Stoops, Jason White, and shit. You know what I mean? Like they had guys in the running a lot of years at Oklahoma for the Heisman Trophy. Where did Adrian Peterson finish? I don't even remember if he won it or not. But my point is I just wish you could have seen him at another school, because to me, you're supposed to win national championships at Oklahoma. You're supposed to win national championships at USC, and he's been a dud really. At Oklahoma, he got to the playoffs, twice? I think it was. Remember, 3 times? They got drilled by Bama, drilled by LSU, and they had a crazy game against Georgia that they probably should have won had they not blown a big lead, which once again, I think that's a thing that under Lincoln Riley you worry about. In that big Pac-12 game in the championship game, when they were that close to making the playoffs, they had a big lead on Utah, Whittingham, and I know Caleb Williams got dinged up. Still, it is what it is. Yeah. I have him at number 11. Moneyline Mac at number 11. You have Jedd Fisch.
I guess we're different on this one quite a bit. Maybe I'm taking away the Arizona experience a lot more positive than you did. I thought Arizona sucked when he got there. He built it up 1, 5, 10, leaves, and then the quarterback and wide receiver stayed. Fafita and McMillan, and they were awful last year, 4-8. I know they lost a ton on the line of scrimmage, but I also thought he did a pretty good job at Washington last year. Year 1 in the Big Ten. I thought they were going to be bad replacing all 22 starters after DeBauer left. And so, yeah, I and you already touched on his pedigree, the guys that he's been around, Bill Belichick, Harbaugh.
Spurrier, yeah.
He's been, it's a who's type of coaches, Sean McVay. He's been around some really good coaches. So I think he's pretty good. Hey, even Pete Carroll, damn. So, yeah, I like Jedd Fisch. I think they're gonna take another step here in year 2 with better quarterback room, like Kyle's talking about. Will Rogers was a weird fit.
It was, but they just I think he thought Fafita was going to follow him. And then when that didn't happen, when that didn't happen, they kind of had to scramble. Because another thing is, I believe Austin Mack went from Washington to Alabama, so that maybe they thought they could retain him. Jedd Fisch, I do think he's going to be moving up this thing. I just want to see 4 years as a head coach, 1 winning season. That would be my argument to that. But look at number 10 for myself. It is Greg Schiano. Now I could already expect the hate on this. I don't think a lot of people remember how bad Rutgers was before the first time when Greg Schiano got there, right? The first time he got there, they were, to me, and that's kind of my theme, I actually believe you can make an argument, and you could have then, that Rutgers is a harder gig than Northwestern. I'm talking then, the first stint, right? And he was able to jumpstart that thing, right? And when I say jumpstart it took a while. 2-9, then 1-11, then 5-7, then 4-7, and then boom, 7-5, 11-2, 8-5, 8-5, 9-4. Then a tough 4-8 season, right back to 9-4, right? Then he left for the NFL. He was like the reason why Rutgers even got into the Big Ten in a lot of ways. Then when he comes back, it's been 3-6, but that was the COVID year. His first season was the COVID year. And I think New Jersey took that differently than a lot of other states as well. Then 5-8, they did make a bowl because of some crazy shit, but shitty. Yes. Then 4-8, but then the past 2 years, 2 winning seasons in the Big Ten. And one of those years was in the Big Ten East. I think them getting out of the Big Ten East. Look, my thing is this. I think it's harder to do what he has done at Rutgers than what Lincoln Riley has done at Oklahoma and USC. So that's why I think especially the first tenure, but I think he's building it back up. 2 straight bowl seasons, three bowls in 4 years. And I think Rutgers is going to continue to be a bowl team. And I think that's more impressive than taking over a fucking Cadillac going 90. You know what I mean? So if you're wondering the logic, it's that. At number 10 for yourself, you have P.J. Fleck rowing that boat. Talk to me about having Fleck at number 10.
I think he's solid. I think that they have an identity. They play well at home. They're usually pretty good in the trenches, disciplined for the most part. He's got a losing record in the Big Ten over his 8 years there. But like you said, Minnesota's a little bit of a tough job, and I think he's done a good job for the most part, overachieving expectations. I enjoy his teams. I think his teams are usually well prepared, and he's always entertaining on that sideline. That's for damn sure. But I do have some of the grinders like Schiano above him because I think Schiano's done more than Fleck has at Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty close for me. But I'll
right here.
I think I'll have to let the slide play for itself. But before I do that, I do want to let the good people out there know that the college football experience is also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes. Look, Underdog Pick'em is awesome. If you can play any sport and win up to 100 times the amount of money you enter. We've been playing it a lot with college hoops and then college football, obviously in the fall. Even right now, NBA, NHL, UFL action, CFL action, shit. They got a MMA. They got really everything you can think of. Hop on over to Underdog Fantasy. There's an edge I believe you can't find elsewhere. So sign up, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market with Rhythm. Look, building your own model is simple and easy, and it's something I highly recommend because look, you could just copy other models, but I like building my own, taking elements from each one and then creating stuff that I like. And look, Rhythm knows that you're going to love it. That's why they give you a free 7-day trial period. So jump on over there. Rhythm's got some great deals going on right now. 25% off the monthly subscription with the promo code SGPN25 and 50% off the annual subscription with the promo code SGPN50. That's Rhythm, RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. Get your free 7-day trial period today. Once again, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride. All right, we are back on the college football experience and just went through PJ Fleck. Max got him ranked at number 10. Who do I got at number 9? Bret Bielema. Look, I actually thought like the top 10 was incredibly hard because you're looking at one here. You know, you can make a case for so many different coaches, and I would say the gap is rather small. But my thing is this: I think Bielema's a fantastic coach. I can't wait to watch Illinois this year. Love the bowl game, shit talk between him and Shane Beamer. But I just think the Arkansas, what happened in Fayetteville was enough for me to put him. I mean, look, Arkansas is a hard gig too. It's similar to Illinois, Arkansas in the SEC. That's why we make the joke about Oklahoma being Arklahoma. But he had an amazing run at Wisconsin. But I would say this: how much weight do we put into that? Because Wisconsin had been such a damn power. Like he was kind of doing what other teams did at Wisconsin, like under Barry Alvarez. So it was like, okay, well, he definitely kept that machine going. Very good job, in my opinion. He had like 4 double-digit win seasons, I think, out of 7. But then when he left to go to Arkansas, which was surprising to leave Wisconsin to go to Arkansas, I know that pissed off the fan base. I was very surprised. I think the Wisconsin gig is a better gig than Arkansas, but at Arkansas, you know, he did have, I guess you can make the case he probably didn't deserve to be fired. He only had 2 losing seasons, and one was in his first year, and then his final season when he was 4-8. But they still never really. He never got it to the Houston Nut level of Arkansas. But here he is with Illinois, reloading. 5-win season year 1, 8-win season year 2, back to 5, and then a 10-win season last year. I mean, I think he's a fantastic coach. Don't get me wrong. I just feel like maybe you downgrade him a little bit because of Arkansas. But I'm going to make the case that I think the Wisconsin, I don't know how much to deduce from his tenure in Madison. Like, yes, he did great from a numbers point of view. I just feel like that shit was rolling, right? So that was the logic here, having Bielema at number 9. It's razor thin though. It's razor thin to me. At number 9 for you is Greg Schiano. So we're similar with Schiano. Yeah. Tell me why you have him at number 9.
The Golden Guido, baby. I love Schiano. Schiano, to your point, man, Rutgers was horrible before he got there, and they were horrible in the Big Ten before he got there. So 2 different times he's resurrected his program. The last 2 years, winning seasons, and they hadn't had a winning season since, well, you guessed it, when he left last. So I like Schiano. I know he's going to get the most out of his roster. They're going to grind. They're going to be physical, good in the trenches. Yeah, he wasn't very good in the NFL, but he never was an NFL guy. Take the money for a couple years and come back to college where you belong. So, yeah, I love Schiano. Rutgers fans love Schiano, and he belongs there, man. He should get a statue there, to be honest.
Dude, I actually think you can make the argument that he should be higher ranked.
Yeah.
Like for both of us. I'm saying like you could make the argument that because that's a hard gig. And what he has done both times at Rutgers –
2 different leagues.
Yeah, 2 different leagues, and both times when he took them over, they were fucking losing every game by like 70. So it was like, okay,
especially the Big Ten, man. The Big Ten, they were getting fucking bent over against Ohio State and Michigan. It was brutal. It was like surprising if they kept it within 60 before he got there.
Yeah, and I know he still hasn't knocked off Ohio State. He came damn close to knocking off Michigan. I think he might have even got him one year. I thought during the COVID year they barely lost. It was like in double or overtime or something. But I think Schiano's a damn good coach here. I think I'm glad to see you got him in the top 10. Give him his flowers. At number 8 for me, Dan Lanning. What? Dundee. Incredibly hard to rank because once again, Oregon is. Do I think he's a fantastic? Do I think he's a good coach? I do, but I just don't know. What am I supposed to? First off, they haven't won a national championship, which I think at Oregon is a question you need to ask, right? Why haven't you won a national championship? I know no one has. Chip Kelly got, or no, I'm sorry, not even Chip Kelly's Mark Helfrich got there. Kelly and Helfrich got there. But still, he hasn't gotten to the national championship. I think it's still done a good job, but I also feel like in the NIL era, which Lanning just happened to just come right into when taking the Oregon gig, they're going to be outbidding almost every team. So it's like, yes, he's not doing a bad job by any means. But I also think if you throw a bunch of these other coaches in there, they'd probably be doing the same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like you're telling me, Greg, if you gave Greg Schiano the Oregon job, he wouldn't be doing the like same numbers. I bet you he'd have the similar record.
Yep. There's a lot of guys on this list, like at the good schools that you could say that for, and we'll get to them here in a minute. Yeah, I like Lanning. I think he's getting better and better as a young coach, but he's at Oregon. He's supposed to do that. To your point. Yeah.
That's it's a hard one to rank because I think
Sarkisian.
A lot. Yes, but Sark's been to 3 stops.
True.
Right, like Lanning's been at 1. So I think it's even, and it's such a good gig. Like coming into it, what is the flaw? Just that you're, especially coming into it in the NIL. Like Chip Kelly he took over from Mike Bellotti, but Bellotti is the real guy to get it going. Him and Jeff Tedford and stuff. But back then, like you had to say, okay, I know we're out in the middle of nowhere. NIL, it doesn't give a matter where the fuck you are. You know what I mean? So you walked into timing couldn't have been better to be Oregon's head coach. Do I think he's done a bad job? No. Do I think he's done a good job? I do. But I also don't know what that makes you as a head coach because I feel like so many of these other names, if you threw them into there, would probably have similar records, if not better. I mean, in some cases, maybe Lanning would be better by a game or 2. I don't know. But this is not me disrespecting. I feel like the Lincoln Riley one is a little bit more like people will say is disrespect but I believe like I don't know how much you learn from someone at a school that just has all the resources and all the history. It's like, I've seen a lot of coaches have success there at name brand schools, where you could, I just mentioned Mark Helfrich took Oregon to the national championship. He's not even a head coach. He's like on ESPN now. Right. What do you put into it? You know what I mean? Like, so I got Dan Lanning at number 8. I think he's still a very good coach, but at number 8, Moneyline Mac has Matt Rhule. Yes. I'm a big fan of Matt Rhule. I think he's a damn good football coach. Tell me why you have him at number 8.
Yeah, he's a program builder. So I'm if they make this year 3 jump that he's done at Baylor and Temple, I'll move him even higher up the list next year because it'll be 3 different stops now. A little bit of a used car salesman feel at times with him. He's very good in front of the mic. He did pad his stats at Baylor a little bit, not being a top 25 team. But still, I mean, he took over Baylor at a shitty time, got him to 11 wins, Big 12 title game, did it at Temple at a high level, back-to-back 10-win seasons. I think he's a good coach. And if he does it at Nebraska here in year number 3, I'll move him up next year.
Yeah, and the Bretts know he did not coach the Bears, the Carolina Panthers in the NFL.
Yeah, and that fucking franchise is a joke. So I mean,
yeah.
He had no chance there. That
it was very Schiano like. He's like, let me go get an NFL, get a big paycheck.
Yeah, get some money, fucking come back where you belong. I don't blame him and Schiano for doing that. Hey, get some money, come back. Yeah,
there we go. I like Matt Rhule. I got him higher than you, so I'll talk about that in a little bit here, but. Like to see him in the. I think it's a big year for Nebraska too, as Weehawks talking about in the chat there. I do think it's worth a little bit of action there. Throw plus 4,000 to win the Big Ten. The schedule's nice. Raiola year 2, half a season with Dana Holgorsen, so we'll have another year here to step into Dana's offense. But number 8, Matt Rhule. At number 7 for me. Jonathan Smith, I think he's a really good coach, man. Like I maybe I'm a little bit biased here because of
you love Oregon State.
Yeah, I was a big fan of those Oregon State teams, but I also and when he played, also that's how old I am. I was a big fan of the teams when he played. But one of the things I just want to like touch on is like when he left Washington for Oregon State. Remember, Washington made the playoffs with Chris Peterson and him. Now he left before Peterson. And when he left, remember he was at Boise with Peterson. When he left Washington, I felt like that offense really fell off. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple years later after that, Peterson steps down. I thought it made me think like, man, Jonathan Smith must be a damn good fucking coach because they had that thing rolling at Washington. And then when he left, that offense never got back to that level. It felt like, then what he did at Oregon State, where they were so bad what he walked into. It took him a few years, but he got it going and he got them, producing NFL players again. I think the guy's a damn good coach. I think Boise and Washington, obviously what he did there, and Montana, just great schools that he was a part of. And then I am a little out there on like, will this work in Michigan? Yeah. But I just think he's a damn good football coach. And another thing is like, did he probably underachieve in year 1? But I also think this is a guy that doesn't strike me as like, let's go to the NIL and just hire it and get everybody. He's a guy that wants to build the fucking foundation and build it the right way. So in that regard, I almost feel like, kind of did exactly what I thought he would do, even though, yes, you shouldn't lose to Rutgers in the way you did. But so I got Jonathan Smith at number 7. I know you can say, well, how the hell do you have Lincoln Riley behind you? I think, man, winning at Oregon State, especially when he walked into Oregon State, was a fucking dumpster fire, man. And that is more impressive than just, to me, winning at Oklahoma or USC. I really do think so. So, Jonathan Smith at number 7. Moneyline Mac.
That's where I got Lincoln.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley. Now, obviously, cutting edge offensive coach. He can score points, draw up an offense, passing the ball better than maybe anybody in college football. You could probably make that argument. What's the logic here?
So I know Oregon ran through the Big Ten, but they were losing Caleb Williams, and I'll give him a little bit of a pass last year with all those 1-score losses. So now, with that said, you better bounce back this year and win 9-10 games. This is USDMC here that we're talking about. So, but I thought he was really good at Oklahoma. He did what he was supposed to do. Won 10, 11 games. He actually went to 4 straight college football playoffs, I believe, in with a bunch of different quarterbacks, Baker, Murray, Hurts. Then he gets Caleb Williams. And man, they were going to be in the playoffs in year 1 at USC if they didn't have to play the Big Ten or Pac-12 title game. If there was no championship game, they were in, but they got out tough, like some of these other teams do against them. So if the format was different, maybe we're singing a different song and dance with him if he had a playoff under his belt at USC. With that said, year 4 better be closer to year 1. if they shoot out another 7 or 8 win season, he'll be double digits for me next year.
Should you at all be worried that
yes,
maybe this thing's been figured out? Like these offenses have been figured out. Now I know they still put up big numbers, but I always question the toughness of a team. Like if you're going full on like that,
especially in the Big Ten.
Yeah. I think it makes it, especially you're practicing against that where you don't run the ball that much.
Yeah.
In the Big Ten, it's a weird fit.
And he made some changes on his defensive staff too. I know him and his guy was loyal to him as long as he could. At some point, it's like, hey man, I can't fall on the sword for you anymore. I'm gonna get fired if I keep you. So it's put up or shut up for Lincoln Riley at USC, man. This is not a let's figure it out as we go. This is the University of Southern California. They expect to win and be in the college football playoff. And they started that way when they beat LSU in the opener last year. I'm like, all right, here we go. USC's on the way back, and then they lose to Michigan in a game they couldn't even throw a fucking forward pass.
Yeah. And Alex Grinch, the DC you're referring to. But, that is a good point, though. And maybe if you're looking to shoot holes in why I have number 11 is like, man, they had a lot of close losses. Like they probably should have beat Michigan, probably should have beat Penn State, but they didn't. They didn't though. That's my thing there is like, I always feel like super physical teams really fuck with them. So, and that goes back to Oklahoma. Kansas State had a knack for fucking up his teams. So, but yeah, number 7 is, it's razor thin. A lot of these ones I feel like to me, at number 6 for me is PJ Fleck. Rowing that boat, I think he's a damn good coach. I think it's a hard gig. And honestly, when you look at what he has done, well, first, I mean, how about a damn near perfect season at Western Michigan? When you get Western Michigan to the fucking Cotton Bowl, 13-0, and they lose what a 1-score game. And look, that he came in year 1 at Western Michigan. They were 1-11, and 8-5, then 8-5, and then 13-1. And at Minnesota, this is a guy that still delivered. He's got them at Minnesota. If you throw out the COVID season, which they were 3-4 in the COVID season, if you throw that thing out, he's got them to 6 straight bowls. It had been a minute since they've been to 6 straight bowls. You got to go back to like the 1940s. He has an 11-win season at Minnesota. Last year, 8-5, and damn near probably should have knocked off Penn State. 2 9-win seasons as well. I think he's a really underrated coach, and it's tough though. Like I know you said you had Schiano, and like it's tough. I
love
think
both of them.
I think Minnesota's an easier job than Rutgers, so in that regard, I think you might have a point. But I also just think, man, if you went undefeated at Western Michigan, dude can fucking coach. So I have PJ Fleck at number 6. Moneyline Mac at number 6 has Dan Lanning. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you're like me. I think a lot of publications, and why I have a problem with a lot of the publications is I feel like they kind of just phone it in, being like, you got to put Dan Lanning or Lincoln Riley in the top 10 coaches in America. And I go, why? They're taking over Cadillacs. Many coaches have won there. Now, yes, it doesn't mean you're a bad coach, but it also doesn't mean you're an amazing coach. Why do you have Dan Lanning at number 6?
I will say he's better than Cristobal for whatever it's worth.
I believe you. I thought he would be better than Cristobal because I don't think he's very good. But that's my point: is if Cristobal, who I don't think is a very good coach, can win that many games at Oregon, what does that say about Dan Lanning?
I agree with you 100%. Now, I want to go on the record. I'm a believer in Dan Lanning. He's only 39 years old, and I think coaches, and we see this in college basketball so much, where they keep knocking on the door. They keep knocking on the door. Keep knocking on the door. We saw it with Ryan Day and then Harbaugh the year before. Finally, you get enough goddamn good teams in position to be in position, you're going to knock down that door. So I think he's going to win a national championship.
Oh, and he got fucked this past year. Make no mistakes about it.
100%. That draw was bullshit. Getting Ohio State, they had already beat him. And I love his track record. I like Kirby. He was our number 1 SEC coach. Love that he's from that tree, the Saban tree. But to your point, he got to stand on third base to start. Oregon's a juggernaut. He's done what he's supposed to. 35-6, 24-3 in league play. He hasn't won a playoff game yet, but he's going to. So I Oregon fans, we're not hating. We think he's going to win a national championship, or at least I do. I don't know about you. I think
I think he'll get one day. Yeah, I think he'll get one. Yeah.
And he gets better. And these coaches get better. I mean, even Sark has gotten a lot better over the years. So coaches mature as they keep getting to bigger and bigger games year after year.
Yeah. And I put it to Oregon fans because I think they'll feel disrespected on, hey, this dude's been a hell of a good coach for us. Well, Mario Cristobal, had you guys winning Pac-12 championships, or playing for Pac-12 championships. So I'm like, I don't believe he's a very good coach, Mario Cristobal. There's a reason why we have him on our hot seat thing at Miami, which has been historically a very good program, but Lanning's certainly an upgrade to Cristobal. In my mind, he's a lot better of a coach. The team looks way more prepared, but it's hard to tell. I just feel like you're like a drunk dude at a bar, 10 beers deep. Like, I can't tell if she's hot or not. You know what I mean? Like, number 6, Dan Lanning. I think that's a good spot for him too. Number 5 for me, Ryan Day. This is one of the hardest ones to fucking do.
I know.
Because it's exactly the same exact spot.
Sometimes people that are standing on third base think they hit a triple, but they didn't.
It's hilarious. He's won a natty. He's 70-10.
But here's my problem. Like,
I know.
Okay, you've lost 4 in a row to your arch rival, right?
Yeah.
They spent more money than any other team on their roster last year. So it's like, did you do a good job? You won a national championship? Sure. But if you put Ryan Day at Northwestern, I think there's a shot that Braun might have a better record in his first 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's a very hard thing to ask yourself this. If you're ranking this, you're like, David Braun won 8 games at Northwestern in 2 years. Do you think Ryan Day could win 8 games at Northwestern in 2 years? I don't know that he could. And that doesn't mean he's a bad coach. But my thing is, like, he's got an unbelievable record. Yes, they're the most talented team on the field, 99% of the games they play in. So he should have that record. Anyone coaching at Ohio State should have that record. He has not done a bad job by any means. I couldn't believe he was on the hot seat a year ago. But I also think, how good of a coach are you really?
I'm going to echo a lot of what you just said when we get to Day, because he's not too far down my list here. But I'm going to say the same thing about the next guy that you're about to show.
Yeah. Moneyline Mac at number 5 is James Franklin at Penn State. Big year for him. I mean, he's got an unbelievable record. I mean, they're mirror images. And by the way, we have them I think that's my next one. So it's like, my only thing was this. Here's why I put Franklin above Ryan Day.
Dandy.
Yes. And I know Ryan Day has owned Penn State, by the way.
Yep.
But Penn State doesn't spend as much as Ohio State.
Yep.
They don't get the same type of athlete. So I'm like, he should beat Penn State. Right? Vandy and what James Franklin did at Vandy, I think does have to mean something. I think that's a very hard time, especially at that time period where now Vandy's got a little bit of NIL. Back then, they were like the only one not cheating. And I know that from personal people that have played the game that have told me that everyone in the SEC offered him money except Vandy. So talk to me about why you have him at number 5.
Same reasons as Ryan Day. And maybe I went with the tiebreaker that Ryan Day always beats him. And you're right. He probably should, but I would like James Franklin to win one every now and then. I mean, he's had dudes. He's had Micah Parsons. He's had Saquon Barkley. He should have a win outside of what was it? 2016?
A blocked field goal too.
Yeah. And maybe they should, maybe if they put the goddamn game at not Big Noon kickoff and put it at night, he would win one of these.
Well, dude, you do have a great point. Like, they've had the second half lead going into the fourth. I want to say like 70% of the time. So there is a true collapse element of this, which makes a lot of sense on you putting Franklin behind Ryan Day.
Yep.
But yeah.
And what we said about Lanning and Riley, I think applies to these two guys as well. Is they're at really good programs with so many resources. Pretty much anybody on this list, but you give them credit, you tip your cap because they do win the games they're supposed to. They don't implode. They're 101-42. I know Franklin every now and then will kind of shit the bed and lose to like an Illinois in 8 overtimes, but for the most part, he just can't beat Ohio State and Michigan.
Fair. And so I'm going to jump on over because he's my number 4 right here. If you're watching youtube.com/the college experience. My only thing I want to add into is that you have a great point on Day straight up against Franklin. Even though I know Day's teams were more talented, Franklin's had a 4th quarter lead and he's botched it in a lot of fucking games. Right?
Crazy.
Yeah. Like I mean, some of those games I had major money on and I'm still fucking upset about. But
the last 2 years he should have fucking. I can't believe he lost either of those. Or the Saquon game. They had the
yes. Oh my God. That's the one I had major money on. And I could not believe. But I'll say this: Penn State had Joe Paterno for all those years, and then obviously the Sandusky shit happens, and Bill O'Brien kind of gets them back on track. But I also feel like Bill O'Brien never had them at an elite level, or Franklin got them there, and I think he should be credited for getting to that next tier. Now they still got to get to that 3rd tier, which they're trying to go for this year and win a natty. But I believe Franklin took the program another step up. Back to an area they used to be in, which was a great job by Penn State and Franklin getting that higher right and also getting them to that level. Now they need to take that next step, and I don't know that he can. We'll see. But the Vanderbilt thing to me, like Ryan Day, there's an unknown. If you put Ryan Day at Vanderbilt, I don't know that he's winning that many games at Vanderbilt. I tend to think he wouldn't.
If he loses to fucking Michigan again, he might be looking at a Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I mean, shit, he might want to go to Vanderbilt, right? Instead of the death threats he'll be getting. Yeah, shout out to Chris Beef throwing up the numbers there. So yeah, I have him at 4, and then you have Ryan Day, I believe, at 4. You've kind of already made your case. Anything else you want to add?
I mean, he's 70-10.
Yeah,
he's 46-5 in the Big Ten. 4 out of the 5 are in Michigan. Who's the? Oh, Oregon. At
Oregon got him. Yeah.
So before that, it was all Michigan, and then he loses the kind of rigged Lanning rolling game, and yeah. So I mean, he's done.
Although he did lose to Oregon when they were in the Pac-12 too, with Cristobal. True. He lost to Cristobal. Yeah.
Yeah, I should probably knock him down a spot for that. You can't lose a fucking Cristobal to do. But he's got the most resources. I mean, his roster was $25 million last year. But hey, man, I respect the way that he bounced back with his back against the wall, though.
I do too, and he battled a lot of adversity. I do believe he's a good football coach. I just don't know that I feel like you watch so many things that you'll have to have him at like one or 2, and I'm like, why? Like, yes, he kept it going, but this program has been producing legit talent like that other schools can't match for a long, long time. So, at number 3 for old pick Dundee, what you got? Matt Rhule.
You love Matt Rhule.
Well, I do have a future on Nebraska this year. Weehawk was talking about it earlier. You've caught me on VSiN talking about it, but I'm just going to echo the same thing that I said with, I believe if you had to ask me, in the course of my lifetime, what are some of the hardest jobs? Rutgers would have been there in the 90s. And then again, and Schiano turned that. Well, this job I actually think is harder than Rutgers. And I'm talking about Temple because they don't have a stadium on campus. No one goes to their fucking games. I believe it's a very, very, they used to back in the day when they had Todd Bowles and shit, they had a stadium on campus, but they decided to get rid of that because they're idiots. To win at Temple and to win the way he did, I think is one really, really good coaching job. So to remind folks, 2-10 in year 1, 6-6 year 2, bowl eligible, but they had too many teams for a bowl, so they didn't qualify. Then 10-4 and 10-3. And oh, might I add, he had College Game Day there. They were beating Penn State. Then he takes over Baylor, who was terrible. He goes 1-11 in year 1. 7-6 year 2, 11-3 in year 3. 5-7 year 1 at Nebraska in 23. Last season 7-6. I know you could say it could have been a phony 7-6, but got them bowling, ending their they had the longest drought of Power 5 schools. I think the guy can coach. I think he's got to build him a winner. That's why I like the shot on them for odds wise to get to the Big Ten championship, especially with their schedule. It's a very nice schedule this year. But I just gonna say I think I'd be willing to bet a large amount of money that if you put Ryan Day at Temple, he doesn't even sniff 10 games. He'll go like 6-6 maybe. Back-to-back 10-win seasons at Temple. You got it. That's a very, very hard thing to do, in my opinion. So that's my logic on having Matt Rhule at number 3. Are you a bit shocked of having, me having Rhule at 3?
No, because I struggled. Like it when you got to, you said the top 9, 10, like it was razor thin to your point. When the Fleck, Schiano's, Rhules, and then Bielema's, I mean, they're all they've done really good jobs at hard jobs. But then you had the guys that are standing on third base. So it's like what you value. I think you're also projecting that Nebraska is going to take a big step, which I kind of think they are too. So next year I may have Matt Rhule at number 3 as well, to be honest.
Yeah, at number 3, Moneyline Mac has and this is one that like I know we're very far apart on this, but I don't feel like it's that far apart.
Yeah.
Number 3, Moneyline Mac has Bret Bielema, which, like I said, I think I love that hire when it happened. He's from Illinois. I thought it was going to work. I've seen some preseason projections have them top 10. They were just outside of the playoffs a year ago. Not many people talked about him. I know Brett's made that known in the offseason. But tell me why you have him number 3. I mean, I think the guy is a fucking great coach, though.
So, I mean, he won 10 plus games at Illinois for the first time since I think 2001. So it had been over 2 decades. And maybe I'm projecting a little bit. If he goes back to back now,
if he gets into a playoffs, build a fucking statue of him, right?
Oh, dude, that'll be a big ass statue. Let me tell you. I love his brand of football, man. Nothing foo-foo. Just gonna pound it right between the tackles. And maybe I just am biased against Fickell, the way that he's come in and tried to go spread it out and air it out. And I'm a between the trenches guy. And he went to 3 straight Rose Bowls, 4 straight double-digit win seasons. It didn't work out at Arkansas, but you already talked about it, that he had 3 winning seasons and then he just had a bad year and then they moved on. So I never liked the fit there at Arkansas either. He's a Big Ten guy through and through. He's found a nice home and he's elevated Illinois big time. My top 3 guys have really elevated their programs more than anybody else has in recent memory.
Yeah, I mean, and trust me, I'm the biggest fan on this one. Like, I would love to see.
Patty C.
I think my entire life I've asked Patty C this, and NC Nick. I said, why the fuck isn't Illinois much better? They're in fucking Illinois. They got all this talent. They have legendary players and coaches. A great stadium. One of my favorite stadiums in college football. And what's holding them back? They got the guy. They just made some bad hires for a long time, but they finally got the guy.
Lovey.
Yeah. I knew that shit. Go back and listen. I'd said that was a fucking F when that happened.
Oh.
Look, I know I have him a lot further back, but I still feel like it's razor thin. You asked me on a different day, I'd probably have him, somewhere higher. I don't know. I think it's razor thin. At number 2. We see eye to eye, I think. Kirk Ferentz, and I think you can make a case for number 1, right? And I know someone in the chat earlier was talking about there's Jeff. Shout out to Jeff Sharp, hell of a good guy. Was saying he has Kirk at 4. I just think, man, at Iowa, pre NIL, I know you have the Hayden Fry, era, to look back on as well. But I just think what a model of consistency, your team's never going to really be ass. I mean, he's 204 and 120. And if you take out his first 2 years where he went 1-10 in 99 and then 3-9, the guy has been bowl eligible every single year but one in 2012. So he's consistently fielding a winner for your fan base. And how many great teams, how many times have we seen Ohio State or Penn State or Michigan come in there highly ranked and lose? I know people give him shit about the offense. The guy can flat out coach. Former Belichick assistant with the Cleveland Browns. You have him ranked at number 2 as well. I believe I'm jumping over to there right now. What's the logic here? And I hope I didn't steal all your points.
I think we see eye to eye, and we view the game of football, I think, a lot more different than a lot of the youth and I guess even more the younger content people. Like, dude, to win at Iowa, the consistency that he's done, that's a hard job. And he's arguably gotten better in the portal era, which I think is even more impressive that he's been able to adapt. They're not very good offensively, but they're elite defensively. And do you want to trade being elite defensively and trying being elite offensively? Ask Wisconsin how that's going for him. Wisconsin's a perfect program to look at what happens when you get away from your identity. There's nothing wrong with winning 8, 9, 10. And if you have a really special group, like in 2015, you can get to a Rose Bowl. And in this era, it would be a college football playoff. They would have had a couple college football playoffs if the format was different. And if they get a team in Iowa City, good luck. How many teams have they picked off, to your point? Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan. Everybody's lost there, and Ferentz is awesome. I love him. Yeah, I think he's
double-digit win seasons, man.
Yeah. I mean, come on, what are we talking about?
Yeah,
if people wanted him fired, I was like, what are you smoking?
Absolutely insane to me. Like, 8 double-digit win seasons. They would have been in the playoffs 8 fucking times with this current system
at Iowa.
Yeah. So please save it. I honestly. And to anyone questioning our list, I would say, what if you would put Ryan Day at Iowa? He wouldn't have that money to get now. He wouldn't have been able to land all those great players that were at Ohio State. And I don't think anyone that we have mentioned today thus far could be winning at that level at Iowa. I really don't. So I think you can make a case for him number 1. Personally, I had a hard time actually not putting him number 1. I actually thought, like, man, am I an idiot here not putting him number 1?
It's consistency for 20 years, or the single maybe greatest coaching job and turnaround in 1 year in college football history, and on top of what he's already done at multiple stops, winning at that place. So I think everybody knows who we have number 1.
We do, and I think that some people will be like, get the fuck out of here. They just had a favorable schedule. At number 1, we both have Curt Cignetti, but my thing goes like this. I actually think we have the best sample size here. I think we have the best sample size because he has played, or he has coached at multiple levels, including, I believe, D2, right?
IUP.
Yeah, he won there. Then he won at Elon. Then he wins at JMU, takes him to the national championship. They lose at the 3-yard line. Then he brings JMU up to the FBS. Right? And are they going to need a couple years to adjust? No. They come right in and fucking punch you right in the face and start beating teams. Power 5 teams. Right? Go watch that Virginia game. Right? And then he heads into Indiana in year 1 and takes them to the playoffs and have the best season Indiana's had probably ever in at least 100 years. Google him. He does win, right? Matthew Murphy. You gotta have Cignetti at least top. Like, to me, like, yeah, I think you could build a case that Ferentz, you could make a good case that Ferentz deserves it more than him because of the longevity in the Power 5. But I also think, man, you look at everywhere he's been, he's just dominated. Like, so you have to put more about him, in my opinion. So anyone that would question saying Indiana had a favorable schedule, they did last year. That's the reason why I said that they could go to the playoffs preseason last year. Now, That's not his fault. That's just the way it worked out, right? I still say you put some of these other coaches at Indiana, they wouldn't have made the playoffs, even with that schedule. You know, and the fact that he brought over his JMU guys, that's a testament to him, that he developed in Harrisonburg that were FCS fucking players.
Yeah.
Probably FCS recruits. You got to give it up to him. How about you?
And to expand on the Indiana history, in the last 30 years, they had 4 winning seasons. One of them was the COVID year that was only 8 games. I mean, come on. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. The way that he has not only just won at Indiana year one, but changed the way that they think. And now he's got Purdue trying to say, oh, we're going to do what Indiana did. Good luck. You got to have a guy like this that instills that, yeah, he's cocky and he's arrogant, but he backs that shit up. And you know what, man? They got screwed on that seed last year.
They should have been hosting. They should have been hosting a playoff game. Yeah.
No doubt. Their resume was better than Notre Dame's because of the Northern Illinois loss. So I mean, he was right. And their starting quarterback had a torn ACL the whole season. I know. He's and like you said, the validation, if you want to just say that he was a one-hit wonder, I think that's a very TMZ take. And if you haven't dug deep, he was 52-9 at JMU, 31-4, and that included a transition period. So not only did they crush it at D2, they were dominant in his 2 years at the Sun Belt. And he was good at Elon, and then of course he won an IUP. And of course, he played at West Virginia, baby. So that's
there you go.
He's a Don Nehlen guy.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's go. Love Don Nehlen. Now, Tyler in the chat, they do need to schedule someone in the non-con. He agreed to the Indiana gig when they had already dropped the Louisville game. So that had nothing to do with him. Now, I will say this. I did read a study on Indiana, and they said that they studied other football programs that were having success, like Kentucky. It was right down the road. And they thought, hey, we should be canceling these Power 5 games. They have another light non-con schedule. But do I need to mention that what was Ohio State's non-con last year? Can you pull that up? I think it was Akron, Marshall. Who was the third team? Like Miami, Ohio, I think, or something like that.
And whose was Michigan 2 years before that?
That's what I'm saying. Michigan did the Bowling Green, East Carolina, which obviously best team in the nation. And then it was like, I don't know, like Central or Western Michigan. So, I mean, this is a blueprint that has been proven to be working. That's why Penn State's doing it this year with Buffalo and Kent State and, I forget who else, Florida International, or no, it's Nevada, Kent State. I forget. You got to look it up. But this is a trend that other schools are following, but it's not Cignetti that came in and demanded that. But yeah, I think he's the best coach. Just the fact you could do it on that many levels, G2 and like that is very impressive. And the fact you take a team, you don't often get to see a coach get to bring a team up to the FBS and then they just hit the ground running. I think that's super fucking impressive. So
he beat Michigan and we said, man, I can't believe he didn't cover. We were talking about that Indiana just beat Michigan and he didn't cover. That was the narrative. That's how good he flipped it quickly. Yeah. And Michigan wasn't horrible. Michigan beat Ohio State. They beat Alabama, and they still handled Michigan. So it wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a complete fluke schedule to everybody's point. The way they beat,
Matt Rhule had been at Nebraska 2 years. They beat him by like 48 points. To come right in and to beat some of the teams the way they did. Jeff in the chat, shout out to Jeff, says, am I surprised Cignetti was number one? Small sample size in Power 5, sure. But I also say, I think one of the hardest things to do is come up from FCS to the FBS and to hit it. I don't know that there's been a program that hit it better. Yeah. Maybe App. Maybe you got to go back to Boise or something. But yeah, I think he's been fantastic. So
he's changed the whole landscape of college football. Now you get a guy like Rich Rod coming in, and it's like, oh man, are you the next Cignetti? Like everybody, are you the next Cignetti that's going to flip a program and get us to the playoff in year one? He's done a disservice to so many year one coaches because a lot of guys
That's
are like,
true. Like, or year two, like Rhule. You're telling me Nebraska fans, they saw Cignetti beat their Nebraska Cornhuskers by 48 points a year ago. And they're saying, wait, Rhule's in year two, Cignetti's in year one. What the fuck are we doing? You know, like they had to be thinking like that. So I think, yeah, it's going to be fascinating. I think they'll be good again this year. And like you said, that's another thing, beating Michigan. They never beat Michigan.
Indiana.
How many times they beat Michigan in their fucking existence? And we should pull that up right now because I feel like that has been very little in the history of college football. They've only been playing probably 120 years, and it's probably not many wins. I would guess like, I don't know, 20 or something, you know, like, I don't know. My computer's kind of freezing right now, but yeah, I just would be surprised if they had more than like 25 wins against Michigan.
I was going to say, I just want to know the last time. All right. They won the COVID year actually, but throw out that COVID year. I mean, that was the year Michigan completely
11 times in their fucking history.
The last time was 87 in a real year.
Yeah. 11 times in their history. Year one, he walks in and boom, gets it done. Yeah. All right. Against the defending national champs. Yes, they lose some guys on their roster and their staff. Sure. All right. But he brought in a JMU, 14 or 15 transfers from JMU and a MAC quarterback who, by the way, tore his ACL in like game 3. Yeah. And they still played with him and beat your ass. Unbelievable. Yeah, folks, that's our show. That's it right there. All 18 of them. We will be doing the Big 12 next. So buckle up. We'll be back. I believe we're going to be back tomorrow if all goes well. So yeah, Big 12 tomorrow, ACC after that. And we're going to do some of the group of 5 ranks. We talk about all college football teams, all 136 here on the College Football Experience. So tell a friend, give Moneyline Mac a follow on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. Please, if you can, hop on over to iTunes, give us 5 stars, or YouTube.com/The College Experience if you can, or Spotify, any of that stuff. It helps us sponsors look at that stuff, and we're very, very grateful. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Once again, YouTube.com/The College Experience. Highly recommend watching the show with the slides and everything, and looking forward to breaking down the rest and then diving into these schedules and diving into all 136 teams. And of course, the FCS College Football Experience as well. We're going to talk about Michael Vick, Deshaun Jackson, new head coaches, Brennan Marion over at Sac State for 1 year. They're going to be jumping up to the FBS. Go listen to that episode. So appreciate you tuning in and look forward. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast coming up next in about 30 minutes. We're going to talk some UFL. Also, you got the Kentucky Derby this week, NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, MLB regular season, college baseball. Don't forget, we will be back tomorrow doing college baseball, the College Baseball Experience, as well as we heat up. The road to Omaha heats up, I should say. So yeah, shout out to Noah Beanick, by the way, doing that. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience, Big Ten coaching style. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting, 'cause the books we written with the cameras. Everybody's trying to stop this team that we shoes.